Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Behind the Scenes of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. Well, folks, as you can see, I was a little bit in a hurry here, and I got a different screen on than what we typically use for this show. But you know what? It's all right because the big show that we're talking about, anyways, that we roll out every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. is just what it says on the screen there. JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And I am your host, Jason JRock Houston. And I want to let everybody know, what's been going on this week with the show we're rolling out. Well, today, actually, this week, if you're a fan of our show, it's a pretty special week already because every so often, as I like to do, I threw you guys a surprise, a little bonus episode to kick off the week. Well, I had the opportunity to interview David Snowden, who is basically a very successful PR man. He's worked in the mostly in the music business, and he's done some TV industry work, from what I understand, in the last 40 years. But I had a chance to interview him recently, just this past weekend, and we talked primarily about because I've been following his career for the last 40 years. Like a lot of people, especially if you're a Kiss fan, the name David Snowden means something to you. And basically, we talked about this year was like 40 years ago when David first got in the business. One of the first things he did was launch a Kiss fan club called the Kiss Force, and we talked a lot about that and him getting to meet and interview some of the members of Kiss, work with some of them, and it was just a fun conversation. Like that episode, about 35 minutes. It's up there on our site now if you want to go check it out. And be sure if you like not just this show but everything else we do on JRock's Babylon. Be sure you subscribe to our Facebook page. That's JRock's Babylon. That's the main hub, the main site that everything goes through. We also do have a JRock's Pop Culture Revolution show where not only do I advertise and promote the show, but each week I be sure to post the latest episode up on that site as well, so people can easily find it. And a lot of times I publish facts and stuff that were discovered in the research of the episode, and fun things that you might not know about that you might be interested in. So be sure you check out our sites and support what we do and subscribe. Because if you subscribe to the sites, you will be notified anytime we post a new episode. And typically, as far as this show, JRock's Pop Culture Revolution, we roll out our episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. But like I had a chance to interview David Snowden. It was a very special interview. It kind of happened at the last minute. I happened to be on Facebook one day, and I'd seen David post an advertisement on his personal Facebook page talking about the fact that he'd been working in the music industry for 40 years. And I remembered seeing ads, back in the 1980s in Circus Magazine. Anybody the hard rock or metal fan, Circus Magazine was like it was the equivalent of classic rock magazine back in the day. I mean, it was a rock magazine. They specialized in hard rock and metal acts, and it was like my Bible, if you will. I used to love watching, getting Circus Magazine every. It come out once a month, but man, it's something I look forward to. I spend my hard-earned money on Circus Magazine. I remember back in the day. Anyways, I seen an ad back in the 1980s of David Snowden's talking about some of these interviews in these fan clubs that he was involved with. And so I reached out to him, and it was a real fun interview. And we're already talking about having David back to do some more interviews because it was that much fun. Now, the episode we're rolling out tomorrow happens to be episode number 40. Well, that's a big thing when you consider we just launched our show last year in 2025. It's hard to believe we rolled out 40 episodes of this fantastic pop culture show that I launched just a year ago. And also in regards to 2025, 26, August 2nd is going to mark our 1 year anniversary since launching the JRock's Babylon site. And this was the very first show that we launched once we launched the new site. Pop culture is something I very much been involved with for over, course of the last 5 or 6 years. And I'd done a previous show, but that show came to an end, and that was the reason for launching this new show, JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. I knew I wanted to continue to talk about pop culture, but we had to find a new way to do it, and I did with this fabulous show. Now, another gentleman that we've had on quite a number of our episodes as a guest is my good friend, writer and director, Ben Hicks. Ben is a very successful writer and director in his own right. You find him on Facebook, but in this latest episode, we had him come on, episode number 40, as I said. He came on to talk about one of his all time favorite films and mine. And I'm, of course, talking about this one right here, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What a great, great comedy movie. I mean, as I always do in preparing for the episode, last weekend, I went and watched this movie again, man. And I tell you, me and Ben were just cracking up, just sharing our memories of watching the movie. I don't know if I asked him when was the last time he saw the movie, but man, um, it seemed like he maybe he just watched it too, like me. Um, but we were cracking up just talking about what a great film it is. So I won't give too much away, but if you tune into episode number 40, that's what it is. It's me and writer director Ben Hicks, who's also a big movie fan like me. We just kind of finally looked back and talked about how much we love Ferris Bueller's. Yeah, so you're gonna get a couple guys talking, having a 35-minute conversation about this wonderful classic film from the 1980s, and why, especially when you look at the career of actor Matthew Broderick, probably Ferris Bueller is to this day a role he will always be remembered. It's his most iconic role. There's just no getting around it. That's just the simple truth of the matter, Um, and wow, I don't know how your guys' week's been going. It's pretty hot, the weather where I am, and beautiful, beautiful sunny Long Beach, California. Um, oh, I live by the beach here, so typically get a nice ocean breeze. We haven't been getting our ocean breeze till about 7 o'clock at night. It's been a lot hotter than what it typically is. Now, today, as we sit here filming this episode, giving a little preview of what's coming tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on the latest episode of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution, episode 40. It is July 22nd, which to a lot of hard rock and metal fans is a very special day, very memorable day, because it was exactly 1 year ago today, folks, that we lost the Prince of Darkness. I'm, of course, talking about the late, great Ozzy Osbourne. And in fact, I'm going to let you guys in on a little clue. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to do this, but it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. Because I was just sitting here thinking about this and seeing a lot of stuff online about being the 1 year anniversary of Ozzy's passing. And it's hard to believe that much time has gone on, has occurred. It's like, wow, Ozzy's been dead a year. I can't believe it. Now, I will say, a year ago today, when the news broke of Ozzy's death, I'm sitting at my desk, my computer, my office here. I was watching Fox News of all things, okay? And they break out with this major news bulletin. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be something about the president, a politician, what? But this was a major alert. And on a station where they typically talk all day about politics, they broke in not just to announce the death and the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, rock and roll icon, but Fox News and many of the other regular news channels throughout the day had special news coverage on the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, which just kind of shows you on how big and how iconic Ozzy Osbourne was. I mean, what's funny is I remember for a good chunk of his career in the 70s, especially in the 80s, when Ozzy was a very successful solo artist. Um, he was often thought of as being a devil worshiper, but he people accused him of being um, satanic worshiper. That there was somebody actually suing Ozzy over the fact song "Suicide Solution" that it was encouraging people to become alcoholics and drink themselves to death and stuff like that. Just crazy stuff. But as most of you know, too, um, later in his career, Ozzy Ozzy Osbourne became a real, because for years he was just known primarily as a heavy metal entertainer, singer, but both fronting Black Sabbath and as a successful solo artist, I said. But very later on in his career, Ozzy went from being just a musical icon to a pop culture icon. I mean, once the Osbournes hit TV, I mean, people that used to think that Ozzy was a devil worshiper, just the worst influence on the youth of America, everybody all of a sudden loved Ozzy because of the Osbourne TV show. They saw another side to Ozzy that maybe people hadn't seen before. He was a lovable loon, if you will, to a lot of people. And it was amazing watching these newscasters, not just on Fox News, but every major news outlet. They had a major, news breaking story about the passing of Ozzy Osbourne. A good chunk of the mainstream news not only covered it, but covered it for over 30 minutes when the news first broke. It was a major story, as you can imagine it would be. So I've been thinking what we're going to be doing is I think we are going to do a little tribute episode to Ozzy, but we're going to have to break it down into 3 parts, I think. And that's the first time we've ever had a 3-part. Sometimes when we have, a topic that's so big, too big to cover in one episode, we've had to break it down into 2 episodes. But I think actually, the fact that Ozzy passed away just a year ago today, this is news everybody's been talking about today, the fact that it's a 1-year anniversary. But I do think we're going to have to break it into 3 parts. I'll tell you why. Because, okay, part 1 is going to cover the Black Sabbath years. Part 2 is going to be talking about a solo career. And part 3 is going to be dedicated to the Osbourne TV show. Because, those were 3 major aspects, parts of Ozzy's life and his career. So we're going to have to break it down like that. But I think we're going to do the next episode we're going to do, okay, is also going to kind of be a tribute episode, but we can, I think, do that one in one episode. So my plan is next week when we do this for episode number 41, we're going to do a little tribute episode, very much like we did for another Sanford and Son star. Remember last January, Damon Wilson, who played Fred Sanford's beloved Big Dummy son, Lamont Sanford, on the 1970s hit show Sanford and Son, died in January of this year. We did a great tribute special where we talked a lot, of course, about Sanford and Son, but we also talked about the fact that he was a Vietnam vet and before that, and we also talked about the fact that later in life he became a minister and was involved with other wonderful projects. And so we didn't only touch upon in talking about Damon Wilson, we didn't only touch upon his Sanford Son years. We talked about his whole entire life. I believe he died at 79 years old. Well, just this 1 week ago, last weekend, it was announced that a fellow Sanford and Son co-star, Hal Williams, who many Sanford and Son fans will remember as the lovable Officer Smith, Smitty, Smitty and Hoppy, yeah, the white cop, which was Hoppy, and Smitty was kind of a cool one that would keep Hoppy in line and kind of set him straight because Hoppy was a white guy trying to act like he was black and talking all the black lingo, and then every time he'd get it wrong, Smitty would have to kind of tell him what the correct lingo was. Oh no, no, this is what you meant. This is what you mean to say. And so actor Hal Williams, who played Smitty on set, he died last week. I'm not sure when he died. They didn't really announce the cause of death, but that's becoming something we're doing more and more these days. And so when we get together next week and we roll out episode 41, that is going to be our tribute to Hal Williams. And of course, as much as we remember Hal Williams for his role on Sanford and Son, we're also going to get into the fact that years later, like in the around 1985 for 4 or 5 seasons, I think, Hal Williams was also um, Marla Gibbs' co-star on 227, the hit TV comedy show that I remember used to be, I believe it was on NBC on Saturday nights, when the show first premiered, I'm talking about. And it was a hit for several years. And he, of course, played the role of Marla Gibbs' husband, Lester Jenkins, on that show. And so we're going to get into all of that because I think Hal Williams really deserves to be remembered. And we're going to do that on our show next week when we get together. I am Jason JRock Houston. I hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Behind the Scenes of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And so be sure you tune in to episode number 40. Going to roll out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And it's going to be with my good friend Ben Hicks. And we're going to talk about the classic comedy movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So please tune in. And I promise you're going to have a million laughs. Ben and I sure had a good time doing it. So I think you'll be able to feel the chemistry we had and the love we have for this movie. So tune in tomorrow, folks, and we're going to be talking about this very movie. Bye for now.